If you're an entrepreneur that sets a lot of goals but achieve just a few of them, this video is for you because I'm going to show you exactly how to achieve any goal fast. And I know that is a big promise, but I'm going to share with you exactly how I teach my 6, 7, and 8-figure clients how to do it. This process is universal. It does not depend on the size of the goal. The size of the goal will tell you how long it takes to get that goal. But the process in order to get there is always the same. It's a system. And this is how we map out the system of goal achievement with something that I call the toolkit, which is a methodology I built like 7 years ago and I've been using ever since to achieve my personal and my professional goals. I've run marathons, shed weight, got married, moved to the US, scaled my business 6 or 7 figures. Every time consistently setting toolkits, typically every 12 weeks, in order to really achieve more in 12 weeks than the average person does in 12 months. So if you are tired of setting a lot of goals and achieving just a few of them or none of them, this will really, hopefully, change your goal setting approach. And everything starts by being very clear on what it is that you want. What is the exact goal that you are going towards? The thing that you commit on achieving. Keyword, commit. Because the best entrepreneurs that I've worked with, they all commit to something and they will never stop until they achieve it, right? And my job as a performance coach is typically to structure their efforts so they can get there exponentially faster. And for the sake of the exercise, let's assume that you have a 50K a month business and you want to get to 100K a month, right? So the goal is to double your revenue, right? Let's assume that is your goal. And just to be absolutely clear, we want to go from 50K a month to 100K per month. Okay? This is the goal. This is the thing we commit on doing. Nothing else matters except getting to 100K a month. Now, how do we make this happen faster than the average person? By very clearly mapping out what is the system that we are going to be setting to get to that goal. And my system building methodology is called the toolkit. The first thing we define is the theme, which in this case will be revenue acceleration or growth, right? I like to be specific on the theme because I think of the theme as the guardrail for my thinking, in a sense that I will not entertain anything that is not specifically related to revenue acceleration. So every time that I have a new idea or a shiny object pops up or the lady in the red dress comes up, I will not pay attention to it unless it helps me with accelerating my revenue, because the goal is to get to 100K a month. Now, the next level is the objective. Here's where we properly map out exactly what it is that we are trying to achieve, which will be double your revenue. We do not map out the specifics yet. That is what we do at the next level. The next level is the key results. And here is when we perfectly map out exactly what double your revenue typically means, which in this case is 100K a month. This is the key result number one that we commit on chasing. We're going to accelerate the revenue. Specifically, we're going to double it, and that means 100K a month, right? That is the only thing that we're going to go after. Now, most people will stop here. They will say, you know what? I'm just going to double my business. I'm going to double my revenue. That is enough. Well, this is obviously not enough. And this is only why typically most goal-setting methodologies do not work, right? Only staying at this level is called OKR, which is a very famous goal-setting methodology that I think Bill Dorr taught the Google's founders, Larry Page and Sergey Brin. What I like to do, and this is the point of difference, is to really map out every key result, initiative, and project that is related to the overarching objectives, so that by defining everything down to the detail and putting it into the calendar, I pretty much guarantee that at some point, with enough iterations, I will achieve the goal. Because you're not one funnel away, one key hire away, or one random stroke of luck away of the goals. You're one system away and enough iterations. And this system allows you to make as many iterations as you can on a weekly basis to get to the goal. What I just said is very important, so I'll say it again. You're not one event away, one random funnel, one key hire, whatever. You're one system away that is consistently made better over time through relentless iterations. And this is why this methodology works so much better. So once we have mapped out the key results here that pertains to revenue, let's map out all the key results that when achieved would pretty much guarantee that we get this, right? So let's assume that, of course, if we want to make twice as much money, we typically should look to multiply, the amount of leads that we get, right? More leads, more money. That is very simple. So let's assume that if we're going to be doubling the revenue, let's assume that we can triple leads. And I have no idea what the price point is, but let's say that we need to get 100 leads a week. Or in total, plus 100 leads a week. Whatever that is for you, right? If we triple the leads, we should typically be able to double our revenue. At higher, especially when you're running paid ads, at higher levels of ad spend, the efficiency is lower. So this is not going to be a 1-1 correlation. You're not going to be tripling the revenue, more like doubling it. But this is a KPI that will automatically kind of guarantee that KR1 is fulfilled. On top of it, we could set a key result 3 for the sales part of the business. Let's assume that you want to increase your closing rate by 10%. Let's say that this is the thing. You want to increase your closing rate. If you triple your leads and you lift your closing rate from like 20 to 30%, what do you think was going to happen to your revenue? It's going to go, you're going to be a lot more money. Well, that's the point. Every key result here is mapped out in a way that if we achieve these two, we typically get the key result number 1. Now, the game really is not played at the level of the goals. The game is played at the level of your weekly execution. And this is where magic happens. Because we define the initiatives and the projects that will make those key results happen in order to achieve the goal. And those initiatives, of course, must be linked to the key results. So let's assume that we want to triple our leads. Well, the first thing that I would look into is triple ad spend. Let's assume that you're running ads per week. I don't know what that looked like for you, right? But this is a specific figure. It's if you're spending $3,000 a week or $2,000 a week, whatever. Triple your ad spend every single week. You also, in order to increase your booking rate, you could say close or follow up weekly. You follow up with every prospect every single week, as many times as you need, or at least 5 times per lead, until you book that call. If we want to increase the closing rate of our sales people, what do? We train them. So you would map out here, one training session a week for sales reps. And you could also set a review of sales calls weekly, or at least the ones that you didn't close. So if every single week we triple the ad spend, we follow up with every prospect weekly, right? So we close all loops within the same week. We train our sales rep or ourselves every single week, and we review all sales calls every single week in order to get better. What do you think is going to happen to your key results? Your closing rate will typically go up. The leads typically will also go up in the same proportion, and your revenue eventually will end up doubling. Now, to facilitate those initiatives, you still need the projects. So the projects, in this case, they will be get sales training. So literally purchase a course or hire a guy that can help your sales team or yourself become better at sales. That is a project. It's something you do once. You hire that person once, or you buy that course once. Let's say that in order to accommodate 3 times more ad spend, you need a new creative workflow I'm assuming you're running them on Facebook or Meta ads. But let's create new workflow. When you create a workflow, you do it once, then you can refine it. But in essence, you're creating it one time. So you have a new workflow, you have a new sales training, you review every call every single week, you train yourself every single week, you follow up with your leads every single week, and you triple your ad spend. What do you think is going to happen with your goals? Well, this is obviously going to shoot up. And at some point in the not so distant future, you will have double your revenue. And this is how you can always guarantee that you achieve any goal fast. Even the most outlandish goal can be mapped out in this specific way. Let's say that you want to run a marathon in the next 12 weeks. What is the thing? Cardio fitness. What is the objective? Run a marathon. What is the key result number 1? Finish 42.2 kilometers or 26.6 miles in whatever time preset for yourself, minimum 4 hours or maximum 4 hours. Now, on top of that, another key result would be the amount of training that you do until the marathon. The more training you do, the better equipped you'll be to do a good job. So you could see key result number 2, run 400 kilometers before the marathon as training. And then initiatives. Well, set a specific mileage per week. Run 30 miles per week until the marathon. And initiative number 2 could be do 2 strength training sessions per week in the gym to strengthen your core and lower body. Initiative number 3 will be visit a physical therapist at least weekly, so that you can really make sure you stay healthy. I'm basically mapping out my latest marathon toolkit here for you guys. And the project will be sign up for a marathon, find a physiotherapist, and do whatever is needed to get there. And this is an iterative process because every single week you are rebalancing the initiatives and the projects in order to get where you want to go. Over time, you end up finding the ideal combination of initiatives and projects that guarantee the key results that eventually will lead to the objective and fulfilling the theme. This is how you win at life, not by trying too many things in a disconnected manner, but rather by being very precise with everything that you do, knowing exactly what are you going after and what weekly iterations you do every single week to get to that goal. Now, does this work every time? Well, in my experience, yes. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, depending on how well prepared you are to achieve your goals. If your mental kind of performance, if you believe in yourself enough, if you know exactly what you're doing, you have the right skill set, you deploy the right behaviors, right? There's a lot of performance-related things that go into fulfilling a toolkit. But for the most part, if you're able to do all the initiatives and projects, you will achieve your goal. Now, there's 7 mistakes that I've seen time and time again. Again, I work with more than 300 entrepreneurs one-on-one, right? From 6, 7, 8, and some guys, one guy at the 9-figure level. So I've seen this many times play out in many different ways. And I've collected the 7 most typical mistakes that people do when setting their toolkits or whatever goals they goal-setting methodology they follow. The first mistake that I see them making is that they make the goal too ambitious. And I know that you've been told in the past that you need to dream big dreams and have big vision and believe in yourself, bro, so you can achieve the impossible. And that is somewhat bad advice. Why? Because the mind has two sides, the conscious and the subconscious. And if you consciously set a goal that is too far away from what the subconscious accepts as a possibility, you will self-sabotage. If instead of saying, I want to 10x my revenue in 12 weeks, I will not do the right things because I will not believe intrinsically, subconsciously, that that is a possibility. See, I have at least 2 clients that have done it within 12 weeks, really 10x and 13x of revenue, but that is not typical, right? The typical program is about to double within the next 12 weeks. So for the average entrepreneur, trying to 10x their revenue will not lead to the outcome because they will not embody the right belief system and the right behaviors, and they most certainly lack the right skills to pull it off. So that is number 1. Problem number 2 is no coherence. When you set a theme that is not really related to the objective, that is not related to the key results, and initiatives and projects has nothing to do with it, right? When you're not really talking about the same thing at every step of the way. When there's no real correlation between initiatives and projects and key results and objectives. Like, let's, for instance, and I've seen this. I remember one time I had a client who wanted to have some sort of revenue acceleration goal for our digital business. And one of the initiatives that he had was to go out, or he called it networking, but really was partying with a group of entrepreneurs that he was friends with, which, sounds good. You're meeting people on your same wavelength. They also have businesses. You probably can mastermind how to double your business. The only problem was that none of those entrepreneurs had a bigger business than him. In fact, he was like twice the size as at least 2 of them combined. So he was not really going to learn much from networking, really partying. They were his friends, which is fantastic, but they're not really, it's not really a revenue acceleration initiative. You know what I mean? It's a fantastic, friendship building initiative, but it's not related to revenue. So he had mapped that out. And once we found out that there was no correlation between him spending time with that and getting the objective, we broke that. We literally changed the initiative. And because he came to me saying, yeah, listen, I'm doing this and it's not working. And the thing he needed to focus on was totally different in order to grow his revenue. So no coherence between projects, initiatives, and key results. Also, another big one is vagueness. Vagueness in general. So vagueness is something that will not help you in anything that you do in your life, right? But in goal setting, the vaguer the goal, the more likely you are of, first, not knowing exactly what it is that you want, and 2, not going after it the right way. Example of vague goals that I've seen my clients set in the past. Instead of doubling your revenue or tripling or quadrupling or whatever, is skyrocketing my revenue. What does that mean? We don't know. Especially if we don't define a key result that tells us exactly what skyrocketing actually means. Another objective, becoming adept at combat sports. These are a recent goal of one of my clients. What does becoming adept to a combat sport actually mean? Does it mean that you're going to be winning a competition? So there's an objective measure of you becoming adept. Are you going to move up to a different belt? I think he does jiu-jitsu. Are you going to, I don't know, whatever measure. Is there any objective measure in which you are going to be actually getting adept at combat sports? Turns out there wasn't. So that vagueness was getting in the way of him getting results. So we reframed it so that instead of becoming adept, he actually showed up and won his first fight. Or his next fight. Because he's already been fighting and losing, I don't remember. But the point is, vagueness will kill your toolkits. Mistake number 4 is too much. And this one is huge. Doing too much. The goal is to not work yourself to death. In fact, quite the opposite. I teach my clients to work about 4 or even 5 hours per day. That should be enough to grow your business. Like for real, a digital business is not as hard. You just need to be strategic. And what I've noticed is that in order to feel well about what they do, the entrepreneur will set a lot of initiatives, a lot of projects, trying to do a lot of things, ticking all the boxes, seeing if hopefully something at some point will work. And that is a recipe for disaster, because doing too much distracts you, breeds inefficiency, and you end up not knowing what is actually working out of all of the things that you said was going to be helpful. Imagine if on top of these 4 initiatives, I'll set 5 more initiatives to do every single week. At some point, I will not know what is working and what is not working. I made the conscious choice of boiling down revenue acceleration to a marketing and a sales system that have very specific sales and marketing initiatives and sales and marketing projects. And I know for a fact that if I triple my ad spends, triple my lead, follow up with all these every single week, have 1 training session per week, and review all my sales within the same week, I will most probably double my revenue very quickly, right? So don't try to do too much. The goal is to do as little as possible in the most efficient manner. That is literally how you win. Mistake number 5 is not reviewing. And this one is huge, because if there is a shortcut in life, believe me, there is feedback. Right? Feedback. Your ability to look at what you're doing every single day and give yourself objective feedback on how to improve tomorrow, or at least do it weekly, is going to trigger something called deliberate practice, which is the technical term in peak performance science. It was coined by Anders Ericsson, who recently passed away, that in essence is practice informed by feedback. So the difference between an average and an elite entrepreneur, or an amateur and a pro, is that they think about what they have done. They consistently seek to outperform themselves by looking at the data, by looking at the replay. So after every new paid ads campaign, you look at the data. What went right? What went wrong? How can I improve? And you do this for everything you do every single day. And I like to do it at the end of every day by asking myself 3 questions. What went right? What went wrong? How can I improve tomorrow? And if you do this every single day, you end up becoming exponentially more efficient in everything that you do. And you end up finding what I call the critical path, the minimum amount of activities that will yield the outcome you want. Because high performance is about doing less, but much, much better. Next problem that I see is, and this one is also huge, is outlet over input. So this one's huge. One of the biggest problems that entrepreneurs typically make when they are in trading performance is over-obsessing with the key results, over-obsessing with the things they want, consistently think about doubling their revenue and not thinking enough about the things that will yield the outcome they want. The game is played at here, at initiatives and projects. This is why most people, OKRs of 8 years old, never actually come to fruition. They never happen because they haven't mapped out the initiatives and projects that have to happen to lead here. This is where the magic happens. This is what you should be focused on. The more you focus on mastering this, master this, the faster the outcomes you want will materialize. In other words, the score always takes care of itself. And finally is no alignment. This one is also huge, right? Professional. So this is a plan, systematically mapped out, that is going to absolutely yield the outcome you want. It will work. I guarantee that it will work. We don't know how fast it will work, but typically much faster than if you don't have this. But you gotta make it work. you gotta become the person that operates this system until it actually works. And I see sometimes how the personal gets in the way of the professional. So imagine an entrepreneur who is absolutely committed and hell-bent on doubling the revenue, but then that implies probably spending more on ads. That implies probably working a little bit more, reviewing all the sales calls and training all the salespeople for a bit of time. And all those things take a toll on his personal life. And maybe his family life is not well organized, not well balanced, and he starts disregarding his personal life, or his personal life comes in the way of him doing these things. In other words, there's some sort of friction. There is problems coming from the personal side to the professional side and vice versa. There's not a clear, coherent, well-aligned performance across all facets of his life, which is what it leads to him not doing the initiatives and projects the right way, right? I remember, for instance, a client of mine many years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, who told me, dude, I've been trying to learn how to cook, and I've realized that I'm not achieving my goals in business, and I'm also not learning much cooking at all. Say, well, dude, what would you expect, right? There's no coherent, no alignment whatsoever between the personal goal and the professional goal. So it was really wasting a lot of effort. There was a huge opportunity cost to him being learning something outside of the toolkit that he had set for himself. Right? So this is how you can almost guarantee you achieve every single goal. Set a theme, and anything outside of that theme is disregarded. Hey, dude, do you want to, set a new partnership? I don't know. Would that lead to revenue acceleration? Yes, no. Because if the answer is no, then I'm not doing it. I just don't care. Then the objective. What exactly are we going to be going after? Doubling your revenue. What does that even mean? It means that we do 100K a month for this specific example. Okay, cool. What is the key result number 2? Well, if we can triple the leads, we should most probably be able to double the revenue. But just in case, let's set a sales KR to a key result. Let's just up our closing rate. How? Well, glad you asked. The marketing, we're going to triple the ad spend. The closing rate, we're going to be following up with every single lead within the week. We're going to train ourselves with our sales rep, and we're going to review all the sales calls that didn't go the way we want them to go in order to learn. And just to make sure, we're going to be getting the best sales training we can find, and we're going to be creating a new workflow to accommodate for the need of 3 times more ad spend. If you do this for every single aspect of your life, I can guarantee that you are going to win. And if you want to learn how to become the kind of person that automatically does this every single quarter and wins every time, check this video. We're going to show you exactly how it's done. See you in the next video.